girls, what was the most obvious hint you dropped, and the guy just didn't get it? I had a friend who had a super obvious crush on me, one so obvious that I noticed it, which considering that I can pretty oblivious, is saying something, and kept hitting on me all the time. She was not subtle about it. At one point we watched a movie together and she practically cuddled with me the whole time. Again, not subtle. The problem was that she was in a relationship at the time, and 1, I was not going to go out with her during while she was still in a relationship, and 2, wasn't going to ask her to break up with the guy just so I could be his replacement. I considered the guy a massive jerk and thought she should indeed break up with him. But she seemed scared to be single, so I wanted her to do it for her and not so she could just jump into another relationship. There was also the matter that I wasn't sure how well things would actually work if we did get together. She was sweet and really cute, but she also had some unaddressed issues with her mental health and sometimes talked to me in ways that I didn't feel were terribly respectful. Eventually, I just stopped talking to her altogether because she was, by that point, engaged and still hitting on me. She'd also said a few things that had crossed a line by that point. Straight up told him I like him. I think his response was something like, "But I'm kinda trash," or something self-deprecating. He's friends with my best friend, and she confirmed that his depression is so bad that it takes a lot before he actually accepts any sort of positive attention. I think to some degree it's mutual, hard to tell, as I, too, am oblivious when guys drop hints. We're all on the same proverbial boat, it seems. Here's a summary of some common answers. Also thank you for the silver, my first award. What happened after? We still talk nearly daily. No forward motion on the I like you front. But I'm gonna be there for him whether we're friends or something else. There's definitely some forky tendencies, I suppose. Some solid points out there about the lack of compliments towards men. Everyone needs to be complimented here and there, whether it's about looks or talent or even just a nice shirt. Accepting them is hard as heck though. Usually guys don't simply miss the hint. They are often too nervous and either let it slip by their subconscious, or notice it and don't know what to do with it, so let it go. You really have to be direct if you want a response. Usually, but not always. Yes, many hints certainly do go unnoticed. There is fear on both sides. Fear of coming on too strong and being rejected, and being too vague as a result. And then fear of misinterpreting hints and ignoring them as a result. If only we ignored our fear 10% more, how many millions of good times around the world would occur as a result. Misinterpret signals too. Most of the time, it's they're just being friendly. I once invited a co-worker crush over at 9 PM on a Sunday night. When he asked how he should get to my place, I told him to take an Uber and that he should bring clothes for work the next morning. Somehow he arrived at my apartment thinking I had invited him over to help me pick out an outfit for a first date I was going on later that week. He finally realized what was actually happening a couple minutes after he showed up, when I told him I didn't want any of our friends to know about this yet. And it was terrifying and awesome and it worked out. I'm a guy here but I know Amanda would say, I literally jumped on him and tried to kiss him but he just laughed awkwardly, dodging my kisses and telling me stop being so frickin' silly. He realized it like a day later but she'd moved to another state. That was the last time I ever saw her. Dang, you missed out on I'm moving out of state so I wanna have crazy hot fricking session with someone I'm never going to see again frick. I was once dating a guy who was super bad at knowing when a girl was into him. I could tell he was into me but wasn't getting my subtle hints so I flat out told him I want to frick you. He replied with thank you. I clarified with right now which didn't result in him making a move for several more weeks. Friend's uncle. So you've been coming over a lot. Are you two dating now? Me. At this point, it's up to him. Him? I asked him out for Valentine's. He told me to frick off. We were really close friends so I didn't take it too bad. 1 year later we're hanging out watching a movie and he keeps getting closer. I didn't get the hint and kept scooting down to the other side of the couch, not wanting to make it weird between us. A few days later, I asked why he kept getting close to me. He said that he was interested in me. I asked if that meant we were together now. He told me UHH. Do you want to? So we got together. I later asked why he told me to frick off. He thought I was messing with him. We're now engaged. TLDR. We're both dense and can't get the most direct hints. Type this on break, sorry if it's choppy. I was working out pretty hardcore. I was talking to some people at work, in a restaurant, and mentioned that my pecs were pretty sore. I wasn't trying to show off or anything, just casual conversation with co-workers. One of the girls who was a massage therapy student said I should come over and let her massage my pecs. I didn't go over to her place. I'm an idiot. She was hot. Like real hot. Like super hot. I quit that job with a no-show, no call. They just never heard from me again. Maybe a years later she came into the new place I was working at with a date. She waited for her date to go to the bathroom and told me when I didn't show up that she was calling all the jails and hospitals looking for me. I guess she really was into me. Sucks. I had my head up my butt over an ex, so I just wasn't in a place to pursue something new. Oh well. This guy I was dating decided to read to me a letter his father wrote to him that had advice on dating. My date was an excellent gentleman with a whole lot of things going for him. Unfortunately, hygiene wasn't one of them. Anyway, he came to a part of the letter where his father had listed different reasons why it is so important to have good hygiene. I piped up then with "Oh yes, I love that piece of advice. Your dad is really smart." He never took the hint. When I later broke up with him, I never told him, but hygiene was one of the reasons. I really hope he's doing okay out there and either figured it out or found someone with a stronger stomach. Yes, I should have told him directly. I was younger and dumber then and didn't want to hurt his feelings. I know better now. Thanks for all the advice. All I can think of is a joke. An engineering major meets his friends at the college cafeteria, riding his new bike. His friends admire the bike, ask him where he got it. The engineering major says, "Remember that cheerleader I was tutoring in math? She rode her bike over to my apartment today, brought it in and leaned it against the wall. She took off her clothes and threw them on the floor. She laid on the bed and told me that she got an A in math, and to thank me, I could take whatever I wanted." The friends look at him admiringly and say, "Good choice in taking the bicycle. Her clothes would have never fit you." As a guy, I have a general fear of being humiliated. I've read some situations incorrectly in the past and felt awful, so I never assume a girl is interested. I could be alone with a woman and she could walk into a room naked and I would honestly not assume she was interested unless she specifically said let's have frick. Even then, I don't know if I'd think she was serious. I feel bad for you, man. That's the problem with hints. You act on them, you'll be humiliated for reading the situation incorrectly, and the same thing happens if you don't. So I'm a dude, but back when I was single, me and my buddy were sitting at a bar when a lady pulled a chair up next to me and kept looking over. Eventually found a way to join in on our conversation and starting asking me questions about what I do for work, where I went to college, etc, and every answer I gave her reply was something like "OMG, that's so great, wow, I have so much respect for people like that, etc, like almost overly impressed at my relatively average life." We eventually left after some more beers and banter, and my friend gave me so much crap for being clueless once we got outside. Still makes me laugh that I'm such an idiot with this kind of stuff. IMHO, your friend should have just walked away with a single "catch you later." Don't screw this eyes point to woman up and leave for a different part of the bar. If you need a bigger hint, he could say "my wingman duties are done for the day" and leave. I had a friend in college who I used to hang out with a lot and smoke herb at her apartment. She was always a bit flirty, but one day we were hanging out and other friends left. She asked if I wanted to see her hula hooping skills. So while I'm sitting there on the couch, she gets out a hula hoop and is suggestively hula hooping right in front of me, looking me dead in the eyes. I thought it was hot, but didn't say anything. In retrospect, she was clearly trying to get me turned on. It turns out she was freaking casually with several of our mutual friends, so probably best that it didn't lead anywhere. But I was clueless for sure. Suggestive hooping intensifies. A guy here, but my now wife still kids me about the time when we were first dating. We had already been intimate just before this event, but it was still extremely new. As in the next date after our first time, we went out for drinks and I didn't realize how much she had. We get back to my place. I put her to bed in my bed and head out to the couch. She was legit mad at me for not taking things further until she realized my point of view. It was actually the first time she stayed over and I had to leave for work in the morning, so I woke her up to say goodbye and that I would be back for lunch and how to lock the door if she had to leave before I got back. Fun memories of me being the upstandiest of gentlemen. I'm the guy, but my co-worker would always make it a point to stop at my desk and talk to me. She would ask about Rick and Morty, I have a figurine on my desk, and then tell me about Bob's Burgers. She would also ask me to make more coffee when we were out because you make it so perfect. I finally asked her out and she immediately said yes. We talked about her flirting and she said she was just about to give up before I asked her out. We've been dating a month now. Does my breath smell like dong to you? Guy, UHH. No. Do you want it to? In his defense, he didn't quite hear me. I learned later. Yes, he was kicking himself for missing that opportunity. Guy here. Missed probably the most obvious hint ever. So my crush's best friend literally came up to and said crush really is into you but is too shy to come up and tell you. My brain then decides to be like you are you. No one could ever feel that way about you. She is probably trying to trick you. Don't fall for it. Then I say if she wants anything she is going to have to come up and tell me herself. A year later, I realized she was telling the truth. Not me, I'm a dude, but rather a story of a girl that was giving me a hint that didn't click till years later. One time I was over at my best friend's house, and my mom dropped me off early. I was waiting on him to get back home because we had plans to hang out. I don't remember where he was but not important. And I was sitting in his dining room waiting for him to get back when his sister comes down the stairs and sees me sitting there, going on about how excited she is about her new panties she just got. Then right after she asks me, have you ever seen my room before? Like a naive dumbass. I said yes, I have. To which she replies, well if you wanna see it again, come on up and I'll show you. I just said okay. I continued to sit in the dining room like a naive virgin teenager until my buddy got home. I didn't care if it was the fact I was a virgin at the time, because she was a couple years older than me, if she, and still to this day, is one of the most gorgeous women I know, or if it was because it was my best friend's sister. I don't know why, I just didn't think anything of it, but the memory always stuck in my head years later how odd she acted for whatever reason. And now that I'm older I understand. Still kicking myself over it. I pushed him down on the couch, took my shirt off, sat on his lap, and kissed him. Too subtle. We're married now so he did figure it out eventually. I'm the guy in this story, but yay, so we were at a party together. Then everyone decided to go to a different party, and she told me she was gonna get an Uber for the both of us. And I was like cool, don't have to take my phone out. Once we get there first, we realize the place is not popping. So I ask her whether we should head back and she's like I'm okay to back wherever. And my reasonable brain thinks yay, we should probably go back to the party we were at. And this time I'm like I should get the Uber to be nice. And I order it back to the party. She seems sorta out of it once we get back to the party. And then like throughout the night random things would happen. Like she got a cut and I was like you probably need a band-aid and she was like yay do you have any and I was like oh yay but it's back at my place. And she'd give me like are you getting me one face? If you can guess. No I didn't. And then by 1 AM, she says she's gonna head back home and she orders an Uber. And as she's leaving, one of my friends comes up and tells me you freaking dumbass, she wanted you to take her back to your place. I freaking hightail it out of the room to catch her before she gets into the Uber. Don't even think the Flash could run that fast. But it's all good boy, I catch up to her and I am like haha I got a better idea. And she rolls her eyes and cancels the Uber. Elmal later that night she asked me how much of an idiot I was and why I didn't pick up on anything. Not a grill, but a victim of obvious tries. Girl says I have a terrible bruise here sitting beside me on couch. Way I up on inside thigh, wearing miniskirt. Feel it. Feel it. It's so hot. Me gently touch his bruise with a fingertip. Yes it does. I look up. She's staring me dead in the eye with raw intensity. I retract hand. Turn to the TV. Think to myself, oh boy. I too am not a grill. You are an attractive man. At least I think you are. At his place quite late one night. I had assumed we were going to hook up. We were hanging out in his kitchen. and I suggested moving to the sofa to be more comfortable. Nah, I'm good standing. Hey, we should get a drink sometime and hang out. Dude was completely unaware that that was me asking him out on a date. I do find it hard, because when you drop obvious hints and they get ignored, I'm not sure if the guy is gently rejecting me or if he's just dumb. Look, this isn't a story, but I'm hoping to help a lot of people out here. If you're not sure someone is flirting with you, the best thing you can do is in a playful tone ask them, "Are you flirting with me?" You know right away whether they are flirting with you or not. If they are, you laugh and play it off as okay, just making sure, or they say no, and you play it off as okay, just making sure. Either way you come across as confident and having a sense of humor. I asked a guy for his number. We go out for a few hours and after I get home, he asks me if it was a date. Bro, I held your hand and bought you pizza. I would hold his hand, snuggle into him at group gatherings etc and kiss him on the cheek. He thought we were best friends. We're dating now lol, and I always wind him up about how clueless he is. Let this be a SAR to women who want to hit on men. Do not give hints, be direct. Here's the gist of it, we are not idiots, we are not stupid, we are not dumb. The truth is that we want to avoid looking like or being labeled as a creep or that guy that misinterpreted. You see so many posts on our Ask Reddit from women complaining about how they were just being nice or doing something completely innocent and a guy misinterpreted what they were doing as a flirt. And conversely, you see posts like these where women say they did something flirtatious and the guy in question read it as something innocent. Here's how it goes. Put yourself in the shoes of a guy. Who would you rather be? The guy that's labeled as dumb because they assumed something flirtatious was innocent. The guy that's labeled as creepy because they assumed something innocent was flirtatious. In a social climate like this one is clearly less of a burden of a title to carry around than the other. Men don't want to be seen as that guy, so we'd much rather play it safe and assume that everything is innocent until it's direct. With all that said, please be direct. So this was 2 weeks before me and my ex started dating. He used to walk me home from school every day. I only lived a 12-minute walk away from school, whereas he lived a 20-minute drive away from the school. Still made sure to walk me home from school every day. Anyways, not the point. Anyway, one day, he walked me home and I went to open my garage and saw that no one was home yet. So I make the executive decision to invite this boy, who I had a raging crush on, inside my house with no one home for a house tour. He agreed and in we went. So I show him around the house, and the entire time we're flirting, I eventually bring him upstairs to my room. So we hang out in there for a while and we start talking about freaking. We ended up making a deal that if we both hadn't lost our virginity by senior prom, we'd lose it to each other. Once again, we were in my house, with no one home, in my room with my door closed. I'm pretty sure telling a kid you've made clear you're flirting with heavily that you would indeed frick him is a large sign. We ended up dating 2 weeks later. We're dating now is how he asked me out. I was in 10th grade when this occurred. In my awkward sophomore mind, I viewed this as a pretty straightforward deal. I later talked to him about it about 2 weeks into the relationship and we both had a laugh about it and our awkward inability to tell each other that we liked each other. Once again, I was 15. I don't see how he missed a hint. He wanted to uphold the terms of the deal, which implied you needed to at least try to lose virginity to someone other each other before the prom. I was at a party at a bar and I was hitting on this guy. I was really interested at the time, so I was giving it the full court press. Like, I could not have been more clear, and he just was not getting it. We ended up chatting about our families and he told me this story about how his parents met while serving in the military, and something his mother almost ended up getting caught. She yelled because his father didn't realize she was completely in love with him, because his father was completely clueless. I slugged down the last of my drink, slammed the glass on the bar, looked him dead in the eye, and said, "Really? Is that a genetic trait?" And, whoosh, he kept right on talking. I gave up after that. My late fiance didn't realize I asked him out for our first date. I said, "Hey, what are you doing Friday? Want to grab dinner?" It was only when he mentioned it to a lady friend of his that she told him that I asked him out, but he initially didn't believe her. God, I miss him. He was cute. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.